By the end of the year, I was the Keller Williams Rookie of the Year for the Carolinas region. And I did 48 closings as a solo agent. I was not on a team that first year. We all kind of had chips on our shoulders. It was like fire and gasoline. We were for sure the black sheep.
This is the Be More Show for agents, where you'll find real talk, shit talk, and ambition. We're here to build real businesses and be more than your average agent. We want to know what killers are actually doing within their businesses, the reality of it, all tactical, no fluff. So we're here to find out. Please share and enjoy. What is up? Shelby Osborne Johnson in the house today. And today I am interviewing you so we can find out more about you, your life, your fucking everything. So are you ready for today?
Dude, open book time. Let's fucking go.
As you're stretching, I love it. All right, I'm gonna start stretching too. Here we go. When I first heard you, I want to talk like a really quick story first, as far as which I have mentioned in another episode already, but I want to say it again. When I first heard you and how we know each other is because I first heard you on a Bigger Pockets podcast and about, investing in real estate, and you're a realtor. And at the time I was not a realtor. I was still in the military. And I was like, dang, this girl sounds badass and she has her shit together, right? Like, damn. So, but I put it back in the back of my head, and at the time I didn't want to become a realtor yet. Fast forward to like a couple of years later after that, I remembered that episode and I was like, you know what? I want to reach out to her because I want to see like what her team, what her brokerage or her community is all about. So I remember reaching out to you, and I was the first agent to end up expanding the team, which I was like, so cool. And I got access to everything that you have, like all the shit that you have together. Like, no shit, you have your shit together, Shelby.
Thank you.
So,
that is so
yeah,
nice.
girl. Yeah. So I'm excited to hear, though. Enough accolades, Now let's just get started, as we always do, with the shit show story. Even though might see it seems like you have your shit together. What is your shit show moment, Shelby?
Dude, it is so funny because this is a story that I have never said out loud, like ever. And I was getting ready for this, and Drake, I was like, dude, you don't even know, like my husband, I was like, you don't even know the story. Like, I've never said it out loud. And he's like, are you sure you want to share it? And I was like, first of all, no. Second of all, I have been already hearing from like our future guests about like the stuff they're sharing. And so I feel like I have to share this moment with you. So this is my shit show moment. Okay, it was a few years ago. I was living with my boyfriend at the time in a shitty ass old apartment. Like, it's not renovated. It's like 1950s style. And it has one bathroom in it. And it's the morning. You guys know I'm up. Like, it's like, fuck, at this time too, I was like up at like 4 a.m. Now I'm at 5. But I was up. I was like doing my little miracle morning stuff. It's like a cold winter. There's like a cold rain outside. It's very peaceful. And I knit at home. I rarely have pants on. Like, it's just a thing. Like, I don't wear pants. So I'm like doing my miracle morning, like half naked. And boyfriend at the time hops in the shower. And it was like right at this time that it was just like the perfect storm of like the morning coffee, like potentially the burrito from the night before, like all of it just like hits. And when you have those moments and you're like, there's no stopping this. And it's a 1 bathroom apartment. And like me and the boyfriend at the time, like, dude, we're close, but we're not like take a shit while you're in the shower close. If you know what I mean. So like, I'm going through it, and I had very little time to figure this out by the intensity of which I was hit. And I look outside, it's raining, it's cold. I look down, I'm not wearing pants. And so I look around the apartment and I'm like, okay, how do I do this? Like, problem solver, here we go. What am I going to do? And this whole time I'm like fighting, like I'm squeezing. I'm like, every muscle in my body is like, we're all in the defense mode, But anyway, so I'm like looking around the apartment. I go to the kitchen and I'm like, garbage disposal. Perfect. So So I hop my ass up there. And we're literally like at the 5-yard line, man. Like, we're heading for a touchdown. And I look in the sink and there's no garbage disposal because this house is like 1950s. And I'm like, it's not going to work we can't do it. So I look around and I'm like, time is running out. Time is out. And I see paper towels So I grab some paper towels and I like go in. There's no more time. Got to work with what I got. And I slide in there and catch the fucking touchdown, which is funny because I never use football analogies. And like we're like touchdown, man. I caught the hot steamy football like right in my hands. And it was at this moment that I hear the shower shut off. Like homeboy's I'm like pants down, ass in the sink, holding like it's fine. How do I at this moment, you know? And then I'm like, it's fine. I'll put it in the bottom of the trash can, like put some stuff on top of it and like take it out when I can. But I open up the lid and the trash can is already been tied. Like it's been tied so now I'm like, I'm holding it and the bitch is full. And so I'm like trying to race the clock. I'm like ripping over. I'm trying to squish it in the side of pulling apart the plastic drawstring, swishing it in there. And the smell. We start picking it up. I'm racing the clock. So I like run in and I like throw on some Costco PJ pants and my Crocs and I like yank the trash out. And just before I make it to the door, he comes out and I'm like, taking the trash out. Be right back.
Damn.
Yeah, and he's like, dude, it smells like shit in here. And I'm like, yeah, I had to take that trash out. It's terrible. And that's where I thought the story would die forever. Like I thought that it was to the grave, but here we are. And now that's my story.
Yep. Oh man, you described the story with such like detailed description. I almost wanted to vomit. I can smell it. Damn.
Yeah. So
did he ever end up telling you? Did he ever figure it out?
No.
Did he ever figure it out?
No, and he'll probably never listen to this podcast. So it's like, he'll never know. But now the entire story knows that I had a moment with a sink and my hand and paper towels, and you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for
you're
that.
welcome.
That's hilarious.
Let's get to business. Can we please go to business now? Real estate.
Okay, fine. So now that we've heard enough shit from your shit moment, literally.
Yeah.
Let's talk about who you are as a person before real estate. Like who are you? What is Shelby about? Tell me.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you so much for asking. Well, because this podcast is about building real businesses, I'm going to try to stick to stuff that's like applicable as much as possible. But anyway, so I started as an Army brat. My dad was in the military. We moved. I was the new kid every single year until 7th to 8th grade. Whatever. And then I went to college and my parents were like, we won't pay for you to go out of state. So I was like, damn, like I need someone to pay for my college similar to you. And so ROTC, man, I did it. I was 2008, 2012, University of South Carolina, ROTC cadet in the house. And because of that, you know the deal. It's like they give you 4 years and then you owe them 4 years. So I commissioned as a second lieutenant into the Army in 2012. And I was in the Adjutant General Corps. So that's like HR shit, like paper and pushing.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a fucking chairborne
HR. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And my first duty station was at Fort Lewis, Washington, which I loved, obsessed. I had like amazing leadership and a ton of opportunities and got to I was like the honor graduate of our airborne class. And I was like the AG officer of the year for the entire division twice. So nice. Because of all of the opportunities I was presented, I was like, dude, the Army's great. Like, I don't know why all these people are talking shit. I'm like, this is great. Just you wait. So then I went off to the Captain's Career Course and finally ended up at my second duty station, which was Fort Bragg, which has a reputation to which I believe that it deserves. And yeah, it didn't last long, dude. It was like, I got there in December of 2016. And it was about the midway through 2017. So not even it was 6 months later where I was like, dude, fuck this shit. And I could look ahead at every senior captain, every major lieutenant colonel. I felt like they were all miserable. And I was like, I think this is a choice. I think that you don't have to do this. So yeah. I started opening my eyes for other opportunities. And I got hit with that real estate bug. Through BiggerPockets, through Robert Kiyosaki, through the first house that I bought when I was at Fort Lewis, my first duty station, that I had now had as a rental, and it was cash flow, it was bringing in money. And I was like, damn, real estate, that could be it. And so I told my leadership I was getting out. I went to night school to get my real estate license. I got licensed late 2017. And I went on my terminal leave in mid-January of 2018. And I had from January through the April 1st of terminal leave saved up. I didn't know about the career skills program at that time. Bummer.
Dang.
But I still had a chunk, and I was like, this is fucking go time. Like, I have to figure this shit out as an agent or else I'm going to die. So that is like kind of the pre until the agent.
Wow. As you made that realization of others in the military that like you said, they choose to be there, therefore they choose to be unhappy. And of course, not everyone in the military is. Some people love it.
Totally.
As you had those conversations, because I presume that you did, saying that you were leaving.
Yeah.
What did that look like, especially with leadership or just coworkers?
It depended. The people with like a mindset more similar to mine were like, yes, go get it, full support. I had a lot of people, because I hadn't even chosen the agent side yet when I first decided I was getting out. Like, I did not know how I was going to make money. And I was like, I'm going to be an investor. I just remember people being like, you're going to be a slumlord. Like, no, like you can't make it in, the real estate industry. There was a lot of negativity towards it. And even after I decided to get my license, it's like, everyone has their license. Everyone's an agent. Like, what makes you, different or whatever. So it was kind of like a mixed bag.
Yeah, that must have been hard. I remember, I had a lot of tough conversations too, where one colonel was like, well, give me a budget before you leave. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is not a requirement. Like, I don't owe anybody a budget, even if I end up living under a bridge, that's my life.
Well, that is the military too. It's like they treat you. It's not a grown-up organization. Everyone is a child, and everyone is treated like a child. So yeah, I feel you.
Nice. So you're separating from the military, and you have 3 months to figure shit out. You're in night school. Take us from once you became a realtor, like once you first started, to where you're at now.
Oh my God. Many years, I feel like many lifetimes within that. But that first year, oh my God, agent life is just a roller coaster, which anyone listening can probably feel that. But that first year was a really cool time for me because I had the freedom to do and work on whatever I wanted. And I had the habits from the military of get up early, bust my ass all fucking day. And so to me, it was really empowering to see how much I could do if my energy and focus was directed in a place that directly rewarded me for my efforts.
Yes, that correlation.
Yeah, very, very cool. But yeah, so by the end of the year, I'll start at the end and then I'll backtrack. By the end of the year, I was the Keller Williams Rookie of the Year for the Carolinas region. So I started at Keller Williams. The Carolinas region was all of North and all of South Carolina. Their annual awards, they like chunk it by regions. And I did 48 closings as a solo agent. I was not on a team that first year. But I'm still not on a team. We grew the team now. But looping it back to like business building. That first year, I had a lot of things that were in my favor that I now see, hindsight 2020, that at the time I was like, people were like, how the fuck did you just close 48 deals your first year? And I'm like, I don't know, I just worked hard. But now looking back, like it all comes back to building actual businesses. And in the military for 6 years, I was the HR for 700 dudes. The first unit I was in field artillery. The second unit I was in infantry. They were almost all dudes who did not give a fuck about what I was responsible for. So like, awards, evaluations, leave forms, like updating your records, all of these things that have to get done. And there's a million moving parts because there's people coming into the unit. There's people leaving the unit. There's people deploying and redeploying, field training exercises. All of these things fall into tracking in the battalion S1 role. So I was totally used to chaos and I was totally used to a billion things going on at once. So thank you, Army, for that. And also I was totally used to SOPs. So standing operating procedures. It's like everything has a checklist. Everything is written down because everyone in the Army, we treat them like, children. Here's your checklist, dumb down. Here's what you do. Right.
Yeah.
And then dude, I feel like I'm just like talking so much, but I have like a couple things and then I'll take a break.
No, this is good. This is good. Keep going.
Okay. I was totally used to the SOPs, the standard operating procedures. And if they did not exist, I was used to creating them. I was really used to follow up because, like I said before, no one gave a fuck about my role. So it would take me having to follow up with the company commanders, the first sergeants, literally the entire organization to get anything done. And I operated off a calendar during those 6 years and met with, the battalion S3 and the XO, and we would look forward over the next quarter, 2 quarters to plan out training exercises and moving parts and second and third order effects. So like this was all ingrained into what I had already been doing, along with leading people and overseeing other people's development and performance.
I mean, that's a lot that you had to learn. I know that a lot of people in the military calendar, it's not a thing. They know that every Tuesday they have a meeting over here and every Wednesday over there, and that's it. And then they go to lunch and then they might leave early for PT. So
totally.
For you to have been able to dive deep into that aspect, and having been in the HR version of the Army, and increasing the skills of calendar, checklist, communication. That's everything that you need to be a successful realtor. Much. That's awesome.
Totally. And the calendar thing, it wasn't just my calendar. It was the battalion commander's calendar that I managed, the XOs, the sergeant major. So I had like 14 calendars that weren't even mine.
So then add organization to the list. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing too, it's like a huge advantage that again, hindsight 2020, I had established enough time to establish myself in that organization as someone who people liked me and they really trusted me. And so the cool thing about that is having like 700 people who know you, like you, and trust you to the extent that they would not just personally work with me, but they put like they stuck their necks out to recommend me to other people. So that really presented me with a lot of opportunity that first year, and I did not squander it.
Yeah. I was talking about this the other day in one of our pods that we have in our community, and I want to hear from you directly.
Yeah.
As you were separating from the military, how did you convert everyone that already knew you, liked you, and trusted you, still trust you, I'm sure, into clients or into business?
Oh my God. For anyone who knows me, I like live in the gray. There's like rules and they're like kind of there maybe in the background, but they don't take a big role in my decisions in life. So I did a couple things. One is I pulled a query of the division-wide roster of emails. And I emailed all of them. Once I had my DD-214 in hand, I literally went in and I had all of them drafted. You can only send it to 150 people at once. So I had like a million different little mini drafts, and I hit send on all of these emails, and it BCC'd everyone. So I sent out this massive, like, thank you so much for allowing me to serve. Please allow me to continue to serve you and your families in the way of real estate. And I attached my little business card with my fucking little headshot, like, and which is like not okay. Like the CG got the email. I do not know why I didn't take the CG off the email, but the division JAG dude, actually, it wasn't the division, it was the brigade. He called me and he knows me. He's like, Shelby, like, what the fuck? And I'm like,
in the Army, which one's higher? Division, brigade?
Division? Sorry, yes. Division is the higher of the one. And then brigade is under the division. And then the battalion. Okay. So I was in a battalion. I got called by the brigade legal dude. And he was literally like, what the fuck? I just got a call from the division legal dude who heard it from the CG, who was like, who is this like, what just happened? And so I like went in and I like found the one to the CG and I like recalled it, and I kept all the rest, and I called it. I was like, hey, I recalled the email, like, I'm so sorry, but the damn, I mean, it had already gone out, you know what I mean? Like, the intent had been, and dude, lots of hate mail, for sure, hate mail, but haters gonna hate. I had a showing the next day. So
wow,
fuck it, man.
Wow.
And
That's
also
awesome.
I put business cards, like I had all of them made and I like had them in the S1 shop when people in processed. I gave them out to all of like the training rooms. And one time I went down to one of the training rooms and they had taken my business card and made like have you seen Hey Arnold and Helga, who has that like weird, like I love Arnold thing in the closet with like a
Oh, yeah,
shrine?
little shrine. Yeah.
There was like a Shelby face shrine. It was, you know
Oh
what?
my God.
That's okay. I accept. I do accept.
Wow. Wow. Do
Yeah.
you know how many, if you remember, how many from that email that you sent out to fucking everyone? You had a showing the next day, but how many clients did that turn into?
I don't know clients because I did not track the way that I should have where my leads came from, but I do know that it was still years later in Fayetteville when like someone would be talking about real estate and I'd be like, oh yeah, like I used to be, in the 82nd. That's 82nd. And they were like, dude, you were that fucking girl, weren't you? Like
Damn.
they like talked about it for a long time, like in the little gossip circles. So that's good though.
I have FOMO right now. I have such FOMO. Like, if I could rewind time, I would have done that shit too. Just sent it to everyone at Davis Monthan Air Force Base. All I did was switch my or out of office message. So I had that up for like, I don't know, a good like 7 months. And I definitely got hate mail for that and phone calls.
Totally.
Like, hey, you should not be promoting yourself. I'm like, okay.
I'm like,
oh,
whatever.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. Same. I'm so sorry. But yeah.
Dang, good for you. So you started off with sprinting.
I did.
You implemented what you already learned in the military. Take us from then to where you are now.
Yes. Okay. Yes. But I have to backtrack a little bit to make it make sense. So
okay, fine.
we're in that first year. And that first year where I did 48 closings. And I already talked about the reasons why I was ready to take on the chaos. But it was month 5. It was May of that first year when I hit my first like real wall personally, my first real wall. So I had 5 closings in 1 week in May of that first year.
Nice.
And I was like, this is not sustainable. Like, I do not want to slow down my business. Of course, like I want to say yes to every opportunity I have, but I am literally dying. I'm not like sleeping. Like I'm about to fucking crack. And I'm only 5 months in. Yeah. And so at this point I was like, thinking back to my, Army days of managing people. I'm like, I need people to help, do the task. At that time, I probably didn't even know what the 80-20 principle was. I was just like, I know that like my time needs to be here. And yet I'm doing these other things. So I tried my first hire and my first fire and another first hire and second fire. So it was between May and September that I was like trying to implement, leverage and people and struggling. And it was September of that first year, September 2018, when I was talking to Ruben, who's also going to be on the podcast. And he was like, dude, why are you trying to like find people to train? Like find someone who already knows what they're doing and hire them, even if it's more expensive. And I'm like, dude, fuck you. That's too smart. So he introduced me to Megan Amarine, who to this day is like one of my favorite humans of all time. She had been an agent. She decided she liked the contract to close portion of the business far more. So she started her own business doing contract to close for a variety of agents. He introduced me to her. We fell in love, like hardcore love. Oh my God, I love her so much. She took so much weight off my shoulders for the contract to close piece, where now when I talk to people who hire leverage and they're like, well, I'm still doing this and I need to check in on this. And it's just so weird for me because I trusted her so much. She was such a fucking badass that I would get it under contract and give her the handover that she needed. And from there, literally would not have to think about it at all until it was time to negotiate again. Like she did everything except for negotiate. So like I would do the repair request and stuff like that. But like phenomenal.
Which is an agent's like ideal position to be in because you're an agent because of your negotiation and your people skills. So that's all you should be doing as opposed to finding where in Skyslope is this file?
Oh my God.
Have they sent it yet? Was that initial in the right spot? Have I gotten it back yet? Oh man. Yeah.
Totally.
So how was you also mentioned the switch from thinking about hiring cheap, I guess, and training versus hiring more expensive, but knows what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
What was that price point like? You don't have to say like how much you paid her, but as far as percentage, was it that big of a deal? I mean, it ended up working out obviously, but can you talk a little bit more about price? How did you make that switch, I guess, to actually
Um,
pay somebody more?
well, I think she's a steal. I didn't know that contract to close companies like that existed. They
Mm,
do in all the states. And with us, even in EXP, they have the Sky TC. So like within our transaction management system, there's a TC who already knows and flows the system. But anyway,
yeah.
I just did not know that existed. And so I paid her $300 a transaction at close, nothing at front, and it was worth every single penny. So that wasn't a hard move for me. Um,
Yeah.
and I was gonna, because dude, I'm already telling you so much, but I want to tell you. I want to tell you these
Tell
things.
me, please keep going.
So until September, Ruben had just introduced me to Megan. So finally, contract to close was off my shoulders. It was around this time that Ruben also reintroduced me to Mike Glaspie, who's another person on Five Pillars who we're going to interview down the road. But he was still active duty. He was an investor when I met previously, only an investor. And Mike calls me up and he's like, yo, Shelby, like, I want to get my license. I still have another year in, but I want to do whatever you're doing. Like that looks like, because at the same time, we haven't gone into any of that. I'm investing the whole time. Like every penny that I make is going into acquiring rentals. So he's like, dude, like let's fucking, they have teams in real estate, right? Like we can do this together. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I guess you're right. I'm going to start a team. And Mike will be, and since then, Mike has built so much of Five Pillars and is now an owner. But at that time, it was 100%, me. And then Mike was the first agent, such a fucking badass. I wanted to do everything possible to live up to whatever he thought I was. Cause I was like, he thinks I'm better than I am. That's fine. So that happened. That happened in September. And then the other thing that happened right after Mike called me, because I was like, dude, we got a TC, we got that in house. I need an ops person. Like, I need a catch all for everything that's not contract to close. And he's like, I got your girl. I fucking got you. And he introduced me to Katie, who is still in the pillar world, literally lives down the street from me now. Like, we're moving to Washington together next year. It's a whole thing. So at this point, September, I got the TC, I got the ops, I got the first agent, and I go to Keller Williams, and it's still September, month 9 of my first year, and I'm like, yeah, guys, like, I'm gonna start a team, and the leadership is like, Shelby, that's very cute. I know that you've
They
done
pat you on the
well
head.
here.
Yeah.
That's adorable. You've no idea what you're talking about. And I was like, well, actually, the rules says that if you close 24 in a 12-month period, then you can start a team. And I've done that. And therefore, technically, I am allowed to start a team underneath your firm rules. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, so I'm gonna do it. And they're like, okay. So then at this point, they kind of half-heartedly bless off on this plan. I go and I start interviewing the other team leaders in Keller Williams who are like fucking crushing it. I interview them, super nice. One of them was super nice, like met me with coffee. They're like, you're so cute. Like, here's all these lessons learned. I know you're not going to do anything with it. Like another pat on the head. Another guy I interviewed was like, there's no fucking way you're going to make this. Like, absolutely not. I left crying.
Oh my God.
From my conversation with him. And then the first year, 2019, the first year in Five Pillars, we outperformed his team. So
Hell yeah.
that's fine.
Hell yeah. Damn. Wow. To make you cry. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude.
What did he say?
He just like basically laughed and was like, there's no way that you can do this. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about. Whereas like the other people, when they said it, they were like really nice about it. I think that he was just in a place probably where he was really disgruntled with his own business and felt that's whenever people are mean to you, it's just because they're suffering, I think.
They're dealing with shit. Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, so now
all
I'm done
of
with your
this-
one. Okay.
Yeah. First, back up really quick. So you found amazing people through Ruben Garcia. What if someone else doesn't have a Ruben Garcia? And luckily I know Ruben too. But like, I don't really like the phrase like rock stars, no rock stars. It sounds kind of corny and like cheesy, but it's the fucking truth. What advice like would you give to someone if they're not living up to their full agent potential? They know that they can, but they're just not surrounded by the right people.
Well, I would say that the right people are definitely out there. It's just finding them. and putting yourself into. So if you want to meet certain types of people, you have to go wherever those people exist. So like, and the same thing works with leads. Like if you're trying to look for an investor lead, go to the investor meetups, go to wherever they hang out. So like, for instance, like with Ruben, I met him at Keller Williams, which was the firm at the time, but I met him through trying to pursue, God, I don't even know how to say it. Like, I guess greatness. It's like the more that you try to find the high energy, the people that you're looking for, and it's the law of attraction as well.
Yeah.
Is that gonna make sense? I don't know if fucking. Also, just hit us up. We'll connect you with people.
We love your DMs on Instagram, and as long as you don't sound like a bot or aren't sharing your overnight crypto success, hit us up on Instagram. Let's be friends. We're at The Shelby Show and at Ali the Agent. So you did a fuck ton year one. I mean, you killed it. You got support from some people. You got pats on the head, and then you didn't get support from some people as well. I'm sure, and maybe this is just the type of person I am, but I use that as fuel to keep going and just like, crush what they thought that I was capable of doing. Because I've been there too. A lender was like, there's no way you can do even like 15 in 1 year. And I was like, bet. And I was still like part-time. So from there, take us to where you are at now. Cause at this part of the story, you're still with Keller Williams. You just started your team. You've partnered with Mike Laspi, Ruben Garcia knows everybody good. Take us to now.
Yep. And I had my leverage in place. I had the contract to close and I had ops at this point. And I had my first agent, Mike. Amazing. And so the cool thing about our crew is we all kind of had chips on our shoulders, like came out, and then it was like fire and gasoline in so many ways, especially like Mike and I in a lot of ways, where it's like he is similar to me in that it's like a assertive, like energy fucking machine. So the two of us together, and then we also attracted, there was, he was an investor client of mine who was getting out of the military and was like, I fucking want to do this too. And so Dan Kidd was the other one. And that first year, really, as in regards to agents, it was the three of us. It was me, Mike, and Dan. And we had some other people year one, this is 2019. We had some other people come in and out and close a few here and there. Like, it was great. But by the end of the year, it was really like the three of us who were the foundation. And we closed 130 that first year as a small team. And we moved to EXP in May of that year. And that all just came into play because the reaction that I got in the beginning was just an indicator of like, we were trying to break down a lot of barriers and do things creatively. And we were scrappy. Like before that at our firm, the majority of the people were like, you're going to wear the nice button up and you're going to act like a professional. And we were very much like ripped jeans, like black t-shirts, like, we had like a beer pong set up in our fucking office. Like we were for sure the black sheep of the crew. And there was a couple things that just did it for us. And it was Ruben, me, and Mike on a Friday decided we can't do it anymore. And we were gone by Monday to EXP. Wow. Back in 2019. So
dang.
That was year one. And the whole time, like the energy that you might think of me having, Mike and Dan and Katie and Megan, all of us were fucking full steam. Well, Megan wanted to have a baby and we got Mandy in there, but different story. Mandy, I love you. Okay. But by the end of that first year, we were like, we can fucking do this. And so we roll into year two as a team, which is 2020. And we're a couple months in and COVID hits. And by this time we have enough energy and traction that we're attracting agents like pretty easily through Pints and Properties, our real estate investors meetup, and everything that we're doing on the internet. And not only the agent life, but the investor life. And the fact that we're like randomly competing in like dodgeball tournaments and like playing beach volleyball and like just absolute absurdity all the time. And so agents are kind of flocking in at this point, and COVID hits. And this was actually totally a blessing in disguise, because up until this point, every agent who came in, I was teaching, like almost one-on-one. And COVID, we couldn't meet in person, forced me to commit my agent piece, because the other pieces were systematized, like contract to close, totally rock solid. A lot of the stuff that we do in the operations realm, so like referral trackers, supply trackers, like a bunch of the trackers were rock solid. And then our emails, like our email flow was also already committed to paper, like every email template. However, the piece of the business that was missing was like, okay, a lead comes in, like fucking now what? Like, how do you talk to them on the phone? Like, where is the script? And I was like teaching them. But then with COVID, it gave me the time, and I couldn't meet with all these agents. So I committed all of those pieces into the Trello that you know now.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And that Trello is so helpful. Literally everything is on there, from like what books to read, which I had already read all. I was like, this is my group. You know, this is my group. done. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then we also hired a listing coordinator as you continue to grow and bring on more, and like our Mike and Dan at this point, we're getting listings now, because you kind of start out in the buyer side, most people, and then there's this flip and you start doing more listings, which is amazing. Listings are everything. But we hired a listing coordinator to take it off. That was one of my ops additional duties, and it became a full role. So we had that side, we systematized the agent side. And by October of 2020, that's when my Bigger Pockets podcast came out. And if we thought that we were attracting agents before, it just came in like rain, the rain that's outside right now. And Mike and I had also just moved to Charlotte around this time. So we were opening from Fayetteville. We're at Fayetteville, right outside Fort Bragg, this whole time until now. And now we're in Charlotte. Katie came to Charlotte with us. We have a different operations team in place back here. We have lead agents in place, and we're trying to continue to grow at a rapid pace. Yeah, it was tough times.
And did you? What was that like with picking up and starting in a whole new city?
It was challenging. It was challenging in ways that I did not expect, because you think it's all North Carolina. The markets are so different. Mm-hmm. And I knew that logically, but like there's a difference between like you conceptually understanding something and then you like living in it. You know what I mean? And what I realized at this time is that a lot of the people that we were attracting were not the same as the beginning what we were attracting. Because when we first started the team, it was we're a startup mindset. You know, like everyone is like, whatever it takes to get the team to where it needs to be, like team first. And the more you grow and the more people who are just attracted to whatever they think might be successful, just trying to hop on the train. Yeah. You know what I mean? Those type of people want, and they weren't giving to the same level. And it just became super draining for me, for Mike, for our admin squad, for the agents who were there from the beginning, who wanted to take the team, you know, everywhere and beyond. And it was also harder to make decisions, because guys, this is an old school team. Mm-hmm. This is the Gary Keller millionaire real estate agent team with high splits. We had 50-50 splits with high leverage. We had every piece of staff that you could ever want. Everything was done for the agents. And with that, though, incredibly high overhead. Mm-hmm. And a lot of agents who were newer who were bitching about the splits, because of course, why wouldn't you bitch about 50-50 splits? Yeah. Like, that's insane, right?
Yeah.
But it makes sense if you have to make sense. The reason why we had to do it is because we had so much overhead to provide the leverage so that they could operate, you know, and that's why, dude, I mean, I think the world of Gary Keller, I really do, but I firmly believe that model is fucking dead.
It's because dying, for sure. Yeah.
It's because, and not, I mean, some people are doing it if you want a small, close knit team, whatever. But what I found in my personal experience is that the bigger it gets, the people you attract are not the type of people who own their own business. They put the ownership on the team. And so, dude, this is now a couple months of like shit. And it's June of 2021 when me, Mike, Megan, a couple of us got together and we're like, this is not why we started it. You know, we started it as like a vehicle for people to learn and invest and hustle and like, you know, have this amazing energy. And now it's turned into a monster. And we're like, dude, well, we want all of the best parts of it. Like, we love the family. We love, like, honestly, the 5 pillars, vision and mission and movement and everything that we are, but we don't want the shit pieces that it's attracted, as well as the huge overhead. Like, how do we have our cake and eat it too? Which, of course, that's what we want, right? And so we realized that we wanted the agents to have every penny of their own money. Like, we didn't want splits at all, 0 splits. We wanted our admin, who we had trained and loved and poured into, and they've poured into us and helped build this thing. We wanted them to be successful beyond their wildest dreams and continue doing the work they love and make more money. And we did not want the responsibility for either of their happiness. Mm-hmm. So what we came to find out is that we could let the agents keep all of their money, and we would help the admin start their own businesses. So, but kind of like how Megan was in the beginning, that's the part that I left out. We left that when we became an official team. Megan dropped her other clients and she became on staff, in-house, 5 pillars. And so what we did is we went back to the TCs starting their own businesses. The listing coordinator started her own business. The marketing people, their own fucking shit. And then the agents hired them directly for their services. So the agents were allowed to keep all of their money and all of their admin and leverage, except we cut out the middleman, which was the team. Yeah. And now the team gets to keep the community based on how the EXP model was originally designed, which we'd just been fighting for years. And so the 5 pillars now is a community, not a traditional team. It's a community within the firm that focuses on building real businesses, building real wealth alongside peers. And we get to keep the coaching that I love. The team syncs once a week, our masterminds, monthly masterminds, our business development, and like in-person retreats, all of the fucking great shit. And all of the agents get to be their own fucking business owners. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Well, it makes sense to me because I'm in it, you know? What does a team look like now? Like, how big? You were in North Carolina and then I joined. How many people are in here now? How many people are part of this family?
Yeah, dude, that is so crazy that like you were literally our first person outside of North Carolina, which is fucking crazy. But yeah, now I think, gosh, and the change in the model, I think it's so cool because now it's like we opened up this opportunity to people nationwide, whereas before it was like, oh, you're not in Fayetteville, you're not in Charlotte, sorry, like sucks to suck. But anyway, we are now, we're in 23 states and 2 countries, and there's 115 agents.
2 countries.
And, this fucking movement to be real business. Stretch again.
Nice. So then where do you see 5 pillars in the future? Like next year, 5 years, what big vision?
Yeah, big vision. It's so funny you asked that because after the change in structure, I like straight up burnt the fuck out.
After,
like,
really?
I was like, yeah, well, I was already burnt out, but it was kind of like the release. Like I was surviving. And then when the model changed, I got to actually exist as my body felt. So it's still a process, and we're developing that right now, but I'm re-energized and we have like a general flow. So the direction that we're headed is creating a framework for the concept of building actual businesses and real wealth alongside peers. And so what I mean by that is like the developments that we have so far, like with the Trello and all of that pieces, that's like very geared to like how to be an agent. And it's super helpful to learn how to be an agent. But the piece that we're literally creating right now, is how to take that knowledge of being an agent and become an actual business owner, and not pull yourself out of like all of the little craziness, the chaos, and get to a point where you're out of the business if you choose to be. And one of the pieces we're doing within that is we're taking, like, of course there's the 5 pillars, but we're taking the 5 and we're correlating it with that framework, where it's like skill level 1 when you're brand new, pillar like a newbie. It's like when you don't know at all what's going on, like that skill level 1. And skill level 5 with the 5 pillars is where you actually are out of the business. And so people will move up and graduate through the different skill levels over time using our framework.
That's awesome.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, so where am I? Where am I, Shelby? What skill level am I at?
Dude, that's really, yeah. So that's a great question. And that's something that Mike and I are working on once a week, is to develop, like, pinpoint what each skill level is, as well as a couple different tracks. Because the one that I've talked about so far is the agent business track. But the other part of our movement is to build real wealth. And as you know, and all of us are also investors. You don't have to be. But the idea of having a track that will also, a framework that will also help you invest in, build actual wealth for you and your family generationally.
Yeah.
If you so choose.
Does
that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're working on it.
With the levels 1 through 5. So I'm thinking of myself in right now. So I was an agent and I worked heavily, like buyers and sellers, my first year. And since then, like you, started leveraging other people, because my max was only 5 per month. Granted, I was still active duty, but 5 was my max. Totally. And I couldn't do more than that. So how am I going to scale, So therefore I decided to get more people here, at least at the time in the Tucson area, to help me. Like, no splits, just help me. Here are fucking leads. So I switched from, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, level 1 to whatever maybe the next level is. Other people, if and when they want to make the decision, is it on them, or is it more so like of a blessing from you? You have graduated. Congrats. No.
Oh my God. It's like, oh my God. It is definitely going to be a conversation. People don't get to self-proclaim their own levels, but you're totally right in the idea of that. If level 1 is brand new and level 5 is out of the business, if you so choose, some people choose to remain in it, then the pieces within are calculated steps to leverage, automate, systematize, or scale weight off your shoulder. Because if that's the scale, you're totally right. It's like identifying the pieces of leverage will be the progression along the track.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Cool. So it'll be a conversation. It's like it's like back when I was in the military. No, come into my office and give me your budget.
Dude, no way. No, it's fun. At least I think it's fun. I think it's really exciting.
That's awesome. I don't know of anybody else that's an agent within a team or a community-ish like us, where they do something like that. It's all working in the business every single day until you burn out, then take a break and get back inside, So yeah, I like that a lot.
Totally. Yeah. And the last piece that I haven't touched on really is like the alongside peers piece, because like you just said, I feel like that is a piece that is missing in most organizations, is like, especially like when they join a new community or a new firm or whatever, it's like, hey, God, we're so happy you're here. But everyone is building their own shit. They're out there like focusing on their own. So like, even with EXP, of course, we have a mentorship program, which is amazing because they get that one-on-one interaction for the first 6 transactions. Yeah. But even after that, like, real estate is such an individual sport. The alongside peers part is something that I fucking love too, because it takes this, 115-man nationwide community, and it puts you in small groups. We call them pods, straight up, idea taken from GoBundance. Thank you so much. Love you, GoBundance. Pods where they're in small groups of 4 to 5 people. And that is like your squad, where it's like, hey, these are my goals. These are the actions that I need to take to get my goals, go over, your net worth and your income and life goals like travel, adventure, variety, relationship, charity, all that stuff. And then within those groups, meeting once a week for an hour, those are the people that you are in it with in a smaller scale, in a part of the larger organization. So you have that accountability. You don't want to show up and be that person who failed to do what they said they were going to do. Because then you have to look your peers in the fucking face and tell them that, this is the other thing that's cool about it too, is that we're really big on self-development. You know that, like, Ali, we're all about like, extreme ownership and like growth and, being the best you can every single day. And with that, what I found is that the more you progress, the further you feel from the people you used to talk to every day.
Oh,
so like the people you used to go out with, or
yeah,
dude, or like work with, or whatever, you just become more and more isolated from the world around you. And so by having pods within a community of people who fucking get it, that's also, and clearly, I mean, this is my fucking story. So of course I'm like super biased. I think it's the best ever. Okay, I'm done.
There's like a reason that I interviewed 13 fucking brokerages and chose yours, which was across the country. So yeah, I'm also biased too. But I mean, I think like such a big mistake that people make is choosing a team. First of all, a team, an old school team structure, but like a community where you're geographically restricted to where you are, because you might not know the best people in that area, might choose the wrong fucking team. And like in my case, if you're married to a military member and you have to move, then you have to like literally say goodbye to everyone there and uproot and start a whole interview, more brokerages in the next spot. That was definitely not something that I wanted to do. So those pods have been helping a lot. Yeah, we meet every Tuesday. I actually want to know more about the mastermind, since we're doing the first mastermind for 5 pillars this year. What are you thinking? Yes. What are your thoughts? We haven't spoken about this at all.
Oh my God. Yeah, we haven't spoken about this at all because it's literally this upcoming Wednesday. I have a chunk of time blocked to like actually commit my ideas to paper, but I'll give you a little teasers, little teasers. So the retreat is going to be in a giant Airbnb. And it's going to be from Thursday night until Sunday morning. And everyone who's going, there's going to be a cap. We can't all 115 fit in this Airbnb, but that's okay. We're all going to sleep at that Airbnb and wake up. And in the mornings, we're going to do some fucking physical shit, whether that be like a polar plunge or whether that be like a learn how to fucking surf, depending on where we are, like whatever the case may be. We're going to do some physical shit and then come back, eat. And then the afternoon will be education, a piece of it, educated from people within the 5 Pillars community, and then also some special guests outside of. And then with the nights being fucking shit show. Not like shit show, but I mean like hang out and like, get into shit. There's gonna be a hot tub, like depending on if we do mountains or beach, there's a fire pit and like lots of just hang out. And if you're Mark, you're gonna get fucking shit faced and hang out. And then we're gonna do that again over the next couple of days. But the last part will be, and I got this from Real Estate Rockstars Mastermind, and I thought it was amazing. The diving back into like your goals and your vision for what you want your life to be like, because we're gonna bond, we're going to fucking sweat, we're going to hang out and learn things, and at the end take that time to think, okay, what do I want? The vision of am I on the right direction? How do I need to pivot and leave feeling like fresh and ready to fucking take over the world?
Yeah, I really like that part of the Rockstars Mastermind, because it's so often where I feel like other conferences, you learn all the things, you meet all the people, and then it's only on the plane ride back that you actually think, how can I implement this into my business? And then by the time you land, life starts again and you never fucking do it. So taking dedicated time to actually think and write out how you're going to implement what you just fucking learned, that's going to help a lot. I like that a lot.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah. Because I'm fucking super stoked.
Yeah. Now.
But yeah, I'll keep you posted more
The
Yes.
last question that I have is in this, whichever one you choose, whether it's like mountain or beach. I'm actually now leaning toward mountains, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Is the house going to have a garbage disposal if you have another shit moment?
Oh my God. Fuck you. Dude,
I am not rooming with you now that you would. Stay far away, Shelby.
Dude, I thought that moment would like pause in time. Like I shared it and like no one was ever going to call me on it. Like, and here we are.
I'm telling everyone. That's what I'm going to teach to the group.
Okay. I hate you. We're done.
Thank you so much, Shelby, for allowing me to interview you. This was awesome. I didn't know a lot of the shit that we spoke about. So I'm like, I'm glad that I got to learn a lot more about you, your background. We didn't even touch on investing, which we can later. Real quick, if you're listening to this on Apple does not make it easy to leave us a rating. So I'm going to break this shit down for you. In the search tab, type in the Be More Show for Agents. Click on the thumbnail. Then click that middle tab that says reviews and click write a review. Tap on those 5 stars, of course. Let us know how awesome this show is and how it's helped you. And if that's too much for you, I understand and just switch to Spotify already. Thank you so much, and back to the show.
2017, right before I got out, I put 25% down on a duplex, realized quickly that was not sustainable because I didn't have a lot of money. So then I moved into all sorts of creative financing options and the BRRRR strategy. And over the next couple of years, 2018 was my first real start. So it was really within 3 years, I was up to 74 rentals. And I had short-term rentals, long-term rentals. I did flips, lots of the BRRRR and the BRRRR&B strategy, which if you want the deep dive on that, that's the Bigger Pockets podcast episode 406. But yeah, and since then, in the peak of like the craziness that we saw in the market recently, I sold off like my shitty performers, and now I'm down to 45 and really happy with the ones that I'm keeping, my little babies that I'm keeping. Happy to get rid of the other ones, and yeah, that's kind of like very quick overview of my investing stuff.
That's awesome. I'm excited to get into more deeper on another episode. So wrap up questions. I have a couple of questions for you, and I'm curious as to what you're going to. I was predicting as to what you might say, but who fucking knows with Shelby, right? So
fuck knows. I don't even know.
What is your favorite app or tool?
Yeah, dude, my favorite, and it's changed over the years, but right now it's for sure Notion. Notion is like it's my second brain. It's amazing. So it takes all of the things that I need to do, and it doesn't take, like I've built it out, but it's the platform where I have all of my lists. And then within each list, there's a category for each thing that I'm working on. And then you can expand and like do all of these little things to make sure it's like your brain map, your second brain for staying organized.
Have you switched from Evernote to Notion? It seems pretty similar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Okay. It is the more advanced version of Evernote, in my opinion.
You're level 2 now. Yeah.
Level 2. That's right. Moving up.
What events are you going to this year?
I just did Real Estate Rockstars, which is amazing. Highly recommend. And the Pillars Retreat, of course. And otherwise, I'm not planning on going to any events, including Bigger Pockets. I know everyone was talking about it the other day in our 5 Pillars Slack channels. Yeah. But I don't think as of now, I'm not doing it. Just that.
I feel like you were barely there last year too. You're like in and out real quick.
Yeah. Well, last year I was pretty burnt out still. Yeah. And that's the thing. I've been a conference junkie since 2019, like every single conference, like full steam ahead. And so like 2023 is supposed to be like chill out, Shelby.
Good. Good. You deserve that. Where can, actually before that, how can people help you, or how can I help you in your business?
How can you help me? Great question. I think I'm good for now. I don't really have an answer for that.
Don't be like Ruben. No, don't be like Ruben.
I really don't have any answer. I mean, keep fucking showing up, keep trying, put forth true effort and be a positive influence on, your own life and those around you. And that's will spread the fucking magic, man.
Spreading it. All right.
Yeah, spread the fucking magic.
Where is your favorite place for people to hit you up? I know it's certainly not text messages.
Certainly not text messages. Once we have our phone numbers, it's on WhatsApp 100%. But until then, Instagram. Just hit me up on Instagram. And then once we get in the flow, it's either WhatsApp or email. But Instagram is The Shelby Show with 2 underscores.
Awesome. Sweet. So
Cool.
I can find you at The Shelby Show with 2 underscores on Instagram. You can hit me up at Ali the Agent with underscores also, because underscores are the way to go, I guess. And thank you so much, Shelby. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. You know what to do.
Be a bro.
And share this show.
Yo, real quick, this podcast is not free. Cost of admission is sharing with a buddy who'd benefit or throwing it on your Instagram story. Tag us. We'll reshare that shit.